2018 Ferrari 812 Superfast Coupe Review. The good points of Ferrari 812 Superfast Coupe. Thrilling performance. Electric handling. If it is possible to, you must. The bad points of Ferrari 812 Superfast Coupe. Hugely expensive. Will be too fast for a few. The latest inside a long type of front-engined Ferrari GT cars has arrived inside the shape with the 812 Superfast. Designed to match two people along with a generous volume of luggage while capable of spectacular performance, the 812 Superfast retains a component of tradition by adhering to a non-turbocharged engine, aimed squarely at wealthy buyers who don't wish to compromise. Succeeding the F12, the 812 Superfast takes factors of that car, along with the limited edition F12 TDF, and builds upon these phones offer almost identical performance and handling but without having to sacrifice comfort or usability. The heart in the 812 is usually a 12-cylinder naturally aspirated engine, increased in capability to 6.5-liter and mounted from the nose, but behind top wheels for superior weight distribution. Despite the lack of turbochargers, the V12 unit delivers 800 metric horsepower, which makes it the most powerful series production Ferrari ever built. Despite this, the 812 also features a stop-start system as standard, and helps to trim emissions in urban driving. As standard, the 812 Superfast is outfitted with the same 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox as suited for other Ferrari models as well as predecessor, combining a completely automatic mode with all the option to shift manually using wheel-mounted pedals. For that model, each ratio has been created shorter than before to further improve acceleration. The combination in this incredibly powerful engine and highly efficient gearbox is remarkable, endowing the 812 with superlative acceleration even from higher speeds, together with delivering an exciting soundtrack on top of that. A first for Ferrari around the 812 Superfast would be the addition of electric power steering. Although triggering a reduction in fuel consumption, the device also allows incorporating two driver aids dubbed Ferrari Peak Performance and Ferrari Power Oversteer, each of which adjust the volume of assistance at higher speeds to assist the driver in applying the ideal steering input. Although it retains the trunk-wheel drive layout, the sophisticated traction and stability control, electronic differential as well as rear-wheel steering are adjustable through steering-mounted magneto exchange signal of suit the confidence on the driver along with the road conditions, providing great reassurance. Despite the facility on offer as well as the size with the 812's cost, it is surprisingly undemanding they are driving, at normal road speeds at the least. The steering is especially accurate, so helping to give the driving behavior of your much smaller car, and also the linear delivery with the engine causes it to be very manageable. Grip levels are inevitably high, but even though they are breached, the 812 is provided for free of vices with all the electronic aids on or off. Inside, the 812 is civilized for just a car basic high performance. The seats are highly supportive. The glazed area is generous, giving an excellent view out, along with the driving position is not hard. Borrowing some from the latest infotainment technology through the GTC4 Lusso model can be a welcome addition for that 812, even though it uses a twin-screen display which can be a little more complicated to utilize than the single-screen version. Ferrari's claims to the practical nature on the 812 can be met, using the generous boot offering a well-shaped area along with the option to divide it through the passenger cabin that has a sturdy foldable panel. The only niggle being that those of the shorter stature may battle to reach the handle to seal the rear lid once opened. The verdict. Ferrari would have made only a few changes to your outgoing F12 model whilst still being met with enthusiasm. Nevertheless, the 812 Superfast comes with improvements and innovations, showing which the famous marque has put significant effort into this model and moved it forwards inside a number of significant areas. Expensive to purchase and inevitably expensive for run, the 812 Superfast is nonetheless an extraordinary machine without peer, and is particularly unlikely to go away a lucky buyer anything besides completely thrilled. 7 with the 8-strong engine range are turbos. Flagship 1.6-liter petrol produces 200 horsepower. Whisper diesels end up being quiet yet torque-rich. There aren't any hybrid or electric power plants with the latest Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer. Instead, performance is delivered by the range of petrol and diesel engines, all barring details are turbocharged. 5 petrol engines available. Kicking from the Astra Sports Tourer range can be an on-turbo 1.4-liter petrol producing just 100 horsepower and 130 Nm of torque at 4,300 revolutions per minute, with power sent to leading wheels by using a 5-speed manual gearbox. Performance definitely seems to be leisurely, which has a 115 miles per hour top speed plus a 13.1 second time for it to reach 60 miles per hour from your standstill. Stick for the smaller 16-inch wheels to get a claimed economy of 51.4 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions rated at 127 gkm. Offering marginally more performance with superior fuel economy may be the turbocharged 3-cylinder 1.0-liter petrol. It produces 105 horsepower and 170 Nm of torque from the low 1,800 revolutions per minute, letting it to pull away from junctions with more easily. It's an abandoned, refined engine that feels at home from the Astra, although more power wouldn't go amiss. Vauxhall claims a top-notch speed of 121 miles per hour, 060 miles per hour use of 11.0 seconds or higher to 62.8 miles per gallon because of stop-start and EcoFlex fuel-saving additions. Emissions are the small sum of 103 gkm of CO2. 2 motors within the middle on the range need to sell best through the petrol ensemble. 125 horsepower and 150 horsepower additions on the turbocharged 1.4-liter. Both produce 245 Nm of torque from 2000 revolutions per minute and show a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard, the harder powerful engines also available which has a 6-speed automatic. No prizes for guessing the 150 horsepower versions, the quicker with the 2-134 miles per hour and 060 miles per hour in 8.2 seconds, versus 127 miles per hour in 9.0 seconds, but efficiencies closely matched at 50.4 to 51. 4 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions rated at 127 to 130 gkm, respectively. Topping the range will be the 1.6-liter turbo with 200 horsepower and 300 Nm of torque from just 1,700 revolutions per minute. It feels brisk as an alternative to sporty, despite claims of 146 miles per hour plus a hot hatch-like 7.2-second sprint from 060 miles per hour. Unsurprisingly, it's minimal efficient in the sports tourer lineup. Vauxhall quoting 45.6 miles per gallon and 142 gkm of CO2. Trio of diesels available. Whichever on the diesels you choose to buy, your Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer may have a 1.6-liter engine under its bonnet. Entry point will be the 110 horsepower version in the Whisper diesel, which specializes in economy instead of performance. A healthy 300 Nm of torques on song from 1,750 revolutions per minute, ensuring a 060 miles per hour duration of 10.7 seconds, which has a top speed of 121 miles per hour, Add around the fuel miserly EcoFlex package and you've got the best of sports tourer available, with claims all the way to 83.1 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions pegged at 89 GkM. Most diesel customers are anticipated to opt for that more powerful 136 horsepower addition and stay willing to sacrifice a modest penetration of fuel efficiency for notably improved performance. There's a marginal hike in torque, now approximately 320 Nm for a slightly higher 2000 revolutions per minute, which cuts down on the 060 miles per hour time and energy to 9.5 seconds. Top speeds recorded at 127 miles per hour. Vauxhall still posts the state claim as much as 74.3 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions at 101 GkM. Each diesel's fitted having a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard, together with the 136 horsepower version optionally available, which has a 6-speed automatic, pulling economy right down to 62.8 miles per gallon when fitted with 16-inch wheels. Providing more pace will be the biturbo version from the diesel, producing 160 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque from just 1,500 revolutions per minute. It's a responsive unit, with negligible turbo lag, offering strong performance not having a woeful influence on efficiency. It'll reach 137 miles per hour, completing the 060 miles per hour dash in 8.4 seconds. Though has a claimed average of 68.9 miles per gallon and emissions of 109 GkM of CO2. Agility improved by lighter underpinnings. Better to operate a vehicle than any previous Astra estate. Few rivals can match its ride-handling balance. Following the lead of their hatchback sibling, the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer's ride and handling characteristics have already been honed on Britain's demanding roads, while using Goldbeam to restore enjoyable they are driving. Just a couple of miles driving confirms how agile the modern sports tourer is weighed against its predecessor, aided with a significant weight saving from switching to all-new, lighter underpinnings. Keener drivers will appreciate the efforts Vauxhall moved to, producing an estate that's very nearly as good drive an automobile as the Ford Focus estate remains. Similarly, the Volkswagen Golf estate has got the edge on comfort above the Astra, but only just. It's a fantastic all-rounder. Criticisms on the handling setup are relatively minor. While grip by way of a series of bends impresses, in lots of Astras the facility steering system feels over-assisted, being very light in their action for that reason. This could be mitigated with SRI versions, complete that has a sport button within the center console. Switching it on adds a greater level of weight to your steering setup. In most conditions the Astra Sports Tourer's ride quality is good at maintaining an appropriate equilibrium for passengers, but it's biased towards firmness regardless on the trim level. You'll have fewer passenger complaints while you ply motorways within the Vauxhall than traversing undulating country lanes. As with numerous rivals, a suite of electronic aids are around for bolster the handling finesse, pleasingly with little intrusiveness when they're contacted. Reigning inside the sports tourer through tighter corners is torque vectoring by brakes, lowering the speed in the inside wheels through bends to assist you keep a line near to that which you intended, along with allowing you to get back within the power sooner when you exit on account of improved stability. Arguably Vauxhall's greatest achievement together with the sports tourer is that it feels barely any different drive an automobile than its Astra hatchback counterpart, in spite of the additional weight and the extra metalwork behind and higher quality cabin ambience than before. Zoned controls are easy to make use of. Responsive touchscreen has clear graphics. No surprise how the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer's quality dashboard and interior fittings are given to its hatchback counterpart. The upper plane is fabricated from soft-touch, squidgy plastics, A way car manufacturers employ as the tactility makes all of the car feel more upmarket, while lower aspects are of any harder type, although they are well assembled. Controls are zoned in line with their functions, which makes it easier for drivers to direct their hands for the required areas. Infotainment sits at the pinnacle, accessed using a 7.0 or 8.0-inch touchscreen with associated buttons and knobs immediately underneath. Below which are the aircon controls. At the bottom are the ones linked to driving, such since the Series Sport button. Evidently there's been plenty of effort to generate the touchscreen easy to work with. It's much more responsive than the device found in Peugeots and Citroëns. As you move, the graphics look contemporary, too. The leader's festooned with buttons and rocker switches for audio functions and cruise control, and even though their placement's logical enough, some feel a bit of your stretch to operate using a dexterous thumb. Pleasingly, the indicator and wiper stalks are of your new, more elegant design and feel nicer make use of. Although we'd like the main set of instruments to become larger, they're admittedly clear, they merely seem unnecessarily small. No surprise which the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer's high-quality dashboard and interior fittings are given to its hatchback counterpart, available for sale from autumn 2015. The upper plane is fabricated from soft-touch, squidgy plastics, an approach car manufacturers employ considering that the tactility definitely makes the car feel more upmarket, while lower aspects are of an harder type, although they are well assembled. Controls are zoned as outlined by their functions, rendering it easier for drivers to direct their hands on the required areas. Infotainment sits at the pinnacle, accessed by using a 7 or 8-inch touchscreen with associated buttons and knobs immediately underneath. Below which can be the aircon controls. At the bottom are linked to driving, such because the Series Sport button. Evidently there's been many effort for making the touchscreen easy to work with. It's much more responsive than the machine found in Peugeots and Citroëns, whilst the graphics look contemporary, too. The tires festooned with buttons and rocker switches for audio functions and cruise control, and although their placement's logical enough, some feel a bit of the stretch to operate using a dexterous thumb. Pleasingly, the indicator and wiper stalks are of a new, more elegant design and feel nicer to make use of. Although we'd love the main set of instruments being larger, they're admittedly clear, they simply seem unnecessarily small. Improved cabin space with ample room for adults. Rear seat can accommodate 3 child seats. Quiet cabin, larger windows improve airy feel. Despite the broadly similar exterior dimensions, the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer's underpinnings let it liberate more interior space, and that is great for overall comfort levels. 4 6-foot-tall adults may easily fit inside car, and usefully the spine bench seat was created to take 3 child seats, a novel feat beyond the MPV genre. Equally positive, passengers from the rear will discover the Sports Tourer much airier as opposed to back in the Astra hatchback's cabin. Your window line is more conventional, plus there's a considerable third side window permit more light into the vehicle. Drivers of any variety of sizes and shapes will appreciate the penetration of adjustability from the seat, especially on elite versions with 18 planes of alteration. Both front seats, the outer rears and also the steering wheel will also be heated within this grade. The characteristics are extra cost options elsewhere from the range. Passengers can easily experience an abandoned interior thanks to your development engineers' efforts to relieve wind noise, particularly around the windscreen pillars and door mirrors. Even the engines can be more hushed than many rivals' offerings. For example, the 3-cylinder petrol and 1.6-liter diesel choices. Simplified specification level hierarchy. Comprehensive equipment rosters. OnStar standard on 3 and Elite trims. From launch, the Astra Sports Tourer will come in 4 trim levels, the highest couple of which might be further upgraded with nav additions. Design, techline, SRI and Elite. From the standard range, the Sports Tourer misses out about the hatchback's energy specification. Standard Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer equipment. Vauxhall claims that for each and every specification level's starting price, the Astra Sports Tourer is one from the most generously equipped inside a compact family estate segment. Design could be the Sport Tourer's entry level, but it's not much of a hair shirt special, suitable for those who simply need to have a vast cargo area while using bare necessities when it comes to equipment. It incorporates LED day running lights, black roof rails, 16-inch alloy wheels, Vauxhall's R4.0 IntelliLink infotainment system that has a 7.0-inch touchscreen, Bluetooth connectivity and DAB radio, aircon, all-round electric windows and cruise control. In the spot of 80% of Astra Sports Tourers have historically gone the way of company car drivers, and also the techline trim has them targeted in Vauxhall's crosshairs. It builds upon the design specification, adding an 8.0-inch infotainment screen including sat-nav thanks to your Navi 900 system. A leather leader and an adjustable front armrest will also be part from the package. Expected to create up the most Astra Sports Tourer sales would be the SRI grade, harking to sportier Vauxhalls within the past 30 years. Nowadays it consists of racier themes as opposed to indicating a potent addition from the range, hence the 17-inch alloys, sight and light pack with LED tail lamps and front fog lights. Inside you'll choose the OnStar system, sports front seats, a leather steering wheel as well as a driving assistance pack that has a forward-facing camera, road sign recognition and lane-keeping assistant to influence you between your white lines of your respective lane. If you need navigation added too, pick SRI Nav, which adds the Navi 900 package and its particular 8.0-inch touchscreen. Close on the pinnacle with the Sports Tourer lineup will be the luxurious Elite specification. It too features 17-inch alloys, silver-finished roof rails, ergonomic sports seats swathed in leather with 4-way electrical adjustment and extendable seat cushions. Elsewhere there's a heated leader complemented by heated front and outer rear seats, climate control, the sight and light package, OnStar connectivity as well as a pair of USB sockets for rear seat passengers. At the summit there's Elite Nav, which is to your Elite what SRI Nav is towards the SRI. Optional Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer accessories. Car personalization isn't especially loved by compact estates, but several upgrades are available for your Astra Sports Tourer to produce it all the more to your liking. Many choices are available only on selected trim levels, but the majority models can be obtained with alloy wheel upgrades. Know that larger sizes negatively affect on CO2 emissions, and metallic paint. Parking can be produced more of your dawdle by fitting a reversing camera, while an extensive self-parking function is conveniently obtainable. Safety is usually reinforced further while using blind spot warning system and LED illumination to the rear lights. Headlamps might be upgraded to full IntelliLux LED matrix systems with automatic main beam. You can boost your tranquility further having an 18-way adjustable driver's seat which has a massager, ventilation and variable width settings, together with a perfumed fragrance diffuser. 5-star Euro NCAP crash testing score. IntelliLux LED headlamps impressed us. Driving assistance pack full of kit. As a physique derivative from the hatchback, the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer has effectively achieved the whole 5-star crash test rating for safety from your experts at Euro NCAP. In spite of the company's lightness, the modern Astra Sports Tourer employs a higher-level ultra-high-strength steel in their construction, with 6 airbags to guard passengers inside the event of a mishap. as together with the majority of contemporary cars there's a number of electronic aids to enhance the Vauxhall's stability, further decreasing the opportunity to get a driver to forfeit control inside first place. Safety equipment closely mirrors that with the Vauxhall Astra hatchback, with SRI and Elite models featuring the driving assistance pack. Night driving is quite a bit improved together with the optional LED IntelliLux matrix headlamps, featuring 16 independent lighting pods that permit sections of illumination to become switched on and off in a way to avoid dazzling oncoming drivers. Further safety extras include blind spot warning along with an automatic parking function. Spacious boot isn't the course leader. Plenty of cabin space offered. Elite versions have 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds split rear seat. While the Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer is undoubtedly a practical estate car, the corporation has been wise not to create any claims about its spaciousness setting new class standards. With regard to outright volume it falls considerably short. With all 5 seats set up the Sports Tourer offers 540 liters of boot space, which can be enough to trump the Ford Focus Estate's 490-liter tally but is shy of the items the Honda Civic Tourer 624 liters, Peugeot 308 SW 660 liters, Skoda Octavia Estate 610 liters and Volkswagen Golf Estate 605 liters can muster. Fold the split rear seats minus 60 hours 40 minutes on all models barring the Elite which features a 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds arrangement, and it's a comparable story. The Vauxhall's 1,630-liter capacity beats the Ford 1,495 liters and VW 1,620 liters but loses out to your Honda 1,668 liters. Peugeot 1,775 liters and Skoda 1,740 liters. Additional carrying capacity emerges on top as all Astra Sports Tourers feature roof rails as standard to alleviate the fitment of an top box, even though this Vauxhall's also the first through the mark to get fitted through an automatic tailgate operated having a foot wiggle under the spine bumper. Dotted round the cabin a variety of sensibly shaped and sized storage cubbies. The boot itself has usefully perpendicular sides along with the rear seats fold simply giving a virtually flat load floor. Our only gripe was the retractable load space cover. When stowed the best edge hangs downwards into your boot meaning larger goods like suitcases can foul its path when you desire to pull it shut.